One of my problems in life is that I'm really bad at remembering specific holidays and birthdays, events of significance. I always tend to forget about those kind of things. So it turns out that December 2024 marks 5 years of me actually actively making videos on this channel. And I thought, I better make something to commemorate that. And so let's go back and have a look at the channel history and what we've done and where we've come from and where we are today. And of course, where we're going to go in the future. So I actually started this OnoCoffee channel way back in 2007, not very long after YouTube started. And I heard about it and I thought, let me get a YouTube channel. I had no idea what I was going to do with it. I just thought that I would put some videos up there just as kind of posterity, just for my own use and maybe to share with some friends. And the very first video that I put up here was a video that I had shot maybe just like a week before, while I was in Tokyo, Japan for the 2007 World Barista Championship. And we were very involved in trying to help the competitors who come from all over the world to get time to practice and to prepare themselves for the competitions. And just like today, there are some competitors who are well-funded, well-financed, well-capitalized, well-everything. They got all the resources they could possibly want. And then there are other competitors that don't necessarily have all of that. We've always been involved in trying to help those competitors who may not necessarily have those kind of resources available to them to get themselves prepared. And my mentor, John Sanders, was using his friends at Makanesti, who agreed to allow us to use both their roastery as well as their cafes to do practice sessions with the different national champions. And we were all gathered at their shop, and some of them have gone on to greater fame. One of them, you might notice, a guy named Pete Licata, who actually won the 2013 World Barista Champion. So you see champions to come and champions that were then. And so that was our very first video, and it's one of my favorites. It's called Laughing Nick, and it's really about the Croatian national champion, Nick Orosi, who owns a place called Ellie's Cafe in Zagreb. Wonderful place and a really great guy, and he's been one of my dearest friends for such a long time. Actually, we met during this trip. This is really what we became friends, and so that was a really wonderful time for me. 2007 was kind of a year of discovery, a year of renaissance. I met wonderful friends, really great friends. I met an incredible woman that year, and kind of changed my life and perspective on things. So that was really kind of significant. Actually, about 6 months later, I released a video called Heinz Piero Party, and it's about an event that John Sanders, my mentor, had at Heinz Public Market Coffee 2 years earlier during the World Barista Championship. They had a big party in honor of Piero Bambi. We had a whole bunch of the barista champions, or just baristas and coffee people in general, the people that really early part of the third wave were together. The whole thing was that the world champion, Paul Bestet, was trying to convince everyone that 35 grams of coffee was the right amount to put into a portafilter. You know, these Australians, they're kind of crazy. They have these weird ideas because they're upside down. The blood must be flowing to their heads. I don't know what they're thinking, but he was trying to convince everyone, this is the way. This is the way to new salvation. And we were all like, you're crazy, dude. There's something wrong with you. But if you look at the video, you're going to see a whole bunch of people. Doug Cadmus is in there. You're even going to see some really interesting kind of celebrities. Again, Pete Licata's there because this is before he became champion. So you kind of notice him in the background. And someone that's also lurking in the background who makes amazing espresso machines. He's always been involved in creating these really beautiful espresso machines, and the stuff he's making even to today are just truly incredible works of art. And also in the early time, this is before we ever started the channel, there's a couple episodes of something I call the Barista del Mundo, kind of a television series, or maybe I thought maybe doing a YouTube series that I wanted to launch way back then in 2007, really about going around the world and seeing coffee. And in the first episode, at a coffee conference that I used to go to and used to teach at, called the Mid-Atlantic Northeast Coffee Conference, which I thought was the best coffee conference anywhere in America, probably anywhere on the planet, because it's really small, really kind of homegrown. You really got to spend time with everybody together, whether you were the attendee who was time with the instructors, or you were in the verse where you got time to get together and really just get into this intimate setting where you just had a great exchange of ideas. It's really a shame that they don't have things like that now. You go to the SCA and all these other big shows, and they're big shows. They're great for what they are, but you don't get that level of intimacy. We had one of my dear friends, John Lewis, who is a fantastic barista, who I think is just a very forward-thinking, progressive guy. I've always loved his vision, and he gives a talk about letting it flow. So I think that's something, if you want to check out, definitely come and check that out. after I became a Mary and was part of the Momoland fandom, and if you're not familiar with Momoland was a South Korean K-pop group. I just kind of enjoyed their music and really loved it. And so I had the opportunity to get a ticket at their show in Mexico City. So I flew down to Mexico City to attend their fan meet, and I had a great time. And actually, the videos that I shot there that I put on the channel, those are some of the most watched videos on the whole channel. Part 2 has 43,000 views. That is really what fueled the watch time on the channel. So, it's not what you should be doing for YouTube, using other content to generate watch time, but it did help us make the 4,000 hours of watch time when we got to 1,000 subscribers, and carried us through to now when we do have enough viewership that we don't have to rely upon those kind of things. If you go through the timeline and you look at it from oldest to newest, you're going to start seeing more videos in 2019. Where I'm starting to get to that point of like, I want to do a channel. Like I wanted to do more of a channel. And part of the reason why I didn't really end up doing more videos early on is because, I was so focused on other things and I was a little bit lazy, right? Because like the Barista del Mundo series we shot back in 2008, starting in that area, I shot those all on mini DV, and mini DV is a tape-based format. You record the tape and then you had to ingest that video footage into your editor. And that happened in real time. So you'd have to play the tape, and it would, even though it's a digital format, it would take an hour to take an hour's worth of video into it. So it was really cumbersome. And then, of course, the editing systems, while there was Final Cut Pro back then, it was not as streamlined as it is today, or at least, in more modern times. So it was just a little bit more difficult to work with. So I just kind of didn't do it. And my friend Jerry was doing some of the editing, so that really helped. But just wasn't able to find the groove with it. We even shot some episodes of the Barista del Mundo that were never released, but one of them was really interesting. We were following the national champion, Bronwyn Cerner. She won the U.S. Barista Championship in 2004, and we were following her on her bid to recapture that title in 2008. We were in Minneapolis, Minnesota. We went to visit a dairy farmer in Wisconsin, which in and of itself was a whole adventure with the guy that was taking us. He was just total character. But we went out to Wisconsin, met the dairy farmer, took a tour of the dairy farm, and it was part of this journey where I really was like being awakened to the difficulties of agriculture in America, where this farmer, and I'll play you the clip, but as he states, he's like, he talks about the cost that it takes for them to produce the milk and how much people are willing to pay, the companies are willing to pay for the milk. And there's a deficit. The amount that they're getting paid per gallon is less than the amount it costs them to produce. So cost of production costs more than the amount that they're receiving. So it's like, it takes you $5 to make something and I'm going to give you $3. Like, you're not going to want to do that. Like, that's a terrible deal. And this is what dairy farmers face, or I guess farmers in general face, here in the United States.
Milk right now, with the cost of the fuel and the fertilizer and everything, the way it's gone, milk could have to be over $20.
Wow.
And I said to him, how do you make things work?
Last summer we were getting about $20 for 100 pounds of milk. And right now, we ship to Ellsworth up here, we're getting like $17.50 or something like that.
Wow.
And he had a really matter-of-fact reply. He just basically said,
How can you make that, how do you make it work then?
It's hard.
Okay.
Wife works in town. I mean, it's hard.
See?
And I was like, that is just, it just blew my mind. Like, this guy's doing it so much for the love, or because I don't know if he's doing it for the love of farming, or if he's stuck, or this is the family heritage. Maybe that's all part of it.
You got to be dedicated. I mean, it's stubborn. I mean, I live here. I live with these cows. I'm gone. I leave the house at 6:30 in the morning. It's 9, 10 o'clock at night before I get in.
Wow.
But the idea that you're going to lose money and you still got to pay all this money for all of your supplies. I mean, it's so shocking to me as a business owner, shocking. But during this whole time in 2019, I've been really starting to think more and more about getting more serious about doing YouTube. What actually happened was in December of 2018, I was in Saudi Arabia. I was with some friends there, and I thought that I would shoot a video about the fried chicken place that we went to. We sat in the car afterwards and had this really great discussion where it's kind of funny about talking about the chicken. The problem is that's all that I shot. I didn't really shoot anything of us eating chicken. So the video would have been like ridiculous because there's nothing to support what we're saying. So I ended up not using that. It just sat on the hard drive. Then fast forward to 2019, we're back in Riyadh. So I was like, I need to like be a little bit more serious. So I brought out some cameras, some of the phones, and I just used the phone, shot the video. Myself and Ahmad and Sean were eating the fried chicken and just talking about it. And that is really the video that premiered on January 31st, 2020, that really marks the beginning of this new era of YouTube production. By this point, I'd already produced some videos on the Spro channel, but this is really the point where I'm starting to try to get this channel rolling. And for the first part of 2020, my focus really was on producing regular videos on the Spro channel. And they're really simple videos and you know, not much talking, not much of me, and it just really more about what we're doing and how to do the drinks. So if you're looking for good tutorials on how to make coffee drinks, the Spro channel is truly where it's at. Like, they are truly unadulterated, exactly how we make our menu. If you're a coffee shop operator, you're looking for menus, you're welcome. Sprocoffee.com. And then finally, in August of 2020, we start to move towards coffee-related content on the channel. The Strawberry Dripper on August 15th was the first one that really was getting more into coffee. And then from that point, we started with the Best Coffee Filter series, where we're looking and trying all these different coffee filters. And this is really kind of where I came up with my whole stance on when it comes to bleach paper filters, you don't need to rinse them. Rinsing is just superfluous, because when I tasted all of these filters, the only ones that had a paper flavor were the ones that everybody said was, oh, it's all natural, the brown ones. Never shall we use brown paper filters again. And then from there, the channel really became more focused on coffee-related topics. My videos don't get many views. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's the way that I do thumbnails or the titles, or maybe the content's just not interesting. I don't know. One of the first things that did very well that was outside of the Momoland videos was the Metallica IKEA Medalist coffee brewer, which for some reason has done very well, probably because it probably has one of the better of the thumbnails. But since that time, as of this recording, 12,000 views. So that's, you know, when you compare to some of the bigger YouTube channels, 12,000 views, that's nothing. But for me, I was like, oh, that's quite exciting to have. One of my good friends, Dai, gave me his La Pavoni Professional Lusso Europa Cola type of machine. And he was like, hey, you know, I want you to do some content for your channel. Use my espresso machine and, you know, do a rebuild on it. And I was like, okay, no problem, I'll do that. So I took that machine, I took it to the shop, I put it on the bar, and I was working with it for, you know, a month or so, just to make sure. And I wanted to see what was wrong with it, see if there's anything wrong with it. And you know what? I couldn't find anything wrong with it. Like, it was in perfect operation. It still today is perfectly in great shape and operation. And I was like, you know what? I just think it's wrong to fix something that's not broken. So I haven't done anything with it. It's still sitting on my bench, just waiting for the day when it breaks down and we really do need to repair it. And then we'll make a video to follow up on that. That may not happen for quite a few years. So we had a couple of, you know, goofy things like don't kill the peeps, save the peeps, don't be so cruel on Easter time. And like I mentioned to you, when I was there in Tokyo for the 2007 World Barista Championship, and you know, one of my friends in the business is actually James Hoffman, the famous person that you guys call Daddy Hoff. And I got a video here if you're interested. It's called Does the Hoff Have the Chops? I should probably make it Does Daddy Hoff Have the Chops? It's a video of James's performance where he wins the 2007 World Barista Championship. And back in those days, myself and a guy named Nick Cho, who is actually your Korean dad, him and I used to do a podcast called the Portafilter.net podcast. We actually did a recording. You kind of hear this running commentary. We even have his coach, who's actually the next year's World Barista champion, Stephen Morsey. He comes and talks to us a little bit, and there's a little bit of insight into the early days of Daddy Hoff. And then from there, starting in 2020, towards the end of 2021, now we're starting to move with like coffee tours in Dubai and Riyadh and Saudi Arabia. So we shot a lot of videos there. We released quite a bit of them. There's still more to come. Actually, there's still so much more content that I haven't been able to edit. As we moved into 2023, we wanted to bring you more videos with more adventures, going out in the world and seeing things. I was in Hawaii at that time and went to visit Na'alehu, so we have a whole Na'alehu coffee tour. There's still more to come from the whole Honolulu side of things. There's actually one video in that series that I've been struggling with on how to edit and release, because the sad reality is that I ran into one of the worst examples of hygiene in food service that I've ever encountered. Like, it was horrific, like truly. And I've been trying to figure out, like, how do we really present that in a way that's thoughtful and relevant without necessarily coming off as egregiously bashing. Like, I think some of that does deserve bashing because it's so negligent, but trying to figure out exactly the right path for that has really been a challenge. But yeah, so I'd like to know what you'd like to see in the future for this coming year, any ideas you might have on content. Yeah, and also if you're thinking about ways to help support the channel, buy coffee from SproCoffee.com. That's really my venue for, raising money for the channel. I don't really have any sponsorships. Nobody gives me any money, so pretty much I can say and do as I wish and be as harsh as I possibly want to be on just about any kind of topic, because unlike a lot of other YouTubers that are beholden to their advertisers, I don't have any advertisers to be beholden to. All I ask is that maybe you take the time to order the coffee and give it a try. Plus, it's not just giving money like a lot of YouTubers may ask for. This time you actually get some product in return and some coffee to enjoy. So consider that, SproCoffee.com, and try the coffee. Hopefully you'll enjoy it. Maybe you'll order more. So that's kind of my thoughts for 2024. I do want to say that we are right now we have 2,287 subscribers. And I just want to say thank you to all of you who have taken the time to subscribe. Let your friends know. I'd love to have more. I'd love to hit 10,000 or 100,000 or a billion would be really nice. But I'm very excited to be here because you know what? Even at 2,300 people, I can't fit you guys in my house. It just would be ridiculous. I couldn't fit you in any venue that I normally occupy. We'd have to go to some kind of like concert hall or something to hang out. But so I really do appreciate the fact that you're all here and watching the videos, and hopefully you're getting some value out of it. If you're not getting value, let me know what you'd like to find value in, and I'll maybe work on it. Except if it's equipment reviews, maybe not. And one of the things about equipment reviews, the ones that I have done, I have either been gifted by not the actual manufacturer but some vendor, or I have paid outright for them. Whatever the case may be, as far as the sourcing of those coffees, I do disclose that in each video. Oh, also one of the things that I want to remind you of, if you have the time, just started a video series called the Coffee Bar Tours. I'm very interested to know what you guys have for your coffee bars. Take the time and shoot a video. Grab your phone and just shoot a little video about your coffee setup at home and share it with the audience. Let me know what you've shot, and I would love to include that in a future Coffee Bar Tours episode. All right, well, that's pretty much it. Thank you very much for your support of this channel over the years and in 2024, and hopefully I'll be able to provide you some more value in the coming years. And yeah, that's pretty much it. I hope you have a wonderful new year and a beautiful 2025 to come. With that in mind, see you next time.